Welcome back to my channel. So today I am back with another video, and this time I'm gonna be doing a new set. The last time that I did this set, I told you guys that these would not be staying on very long, just because you guys know that I hate when my nails get long underneath. So I want to go ahead and do a new set. So of course the first thing that I'm going to be doing is removing the bling, and then I'm also going to be soaking off my nails, of course. So when I'm soaking them, I'm going to be using two different types of soaking techniques, I guess I could say, because I'm going to be testing out one and I'm going to be showing you what it is here in a second. So again, for now, I'm just removing my bling and I'm using a pair of nippers for that. Alrighty, so once I'm done removing all of the bling, we're gonna go in with the tip cutter and I'm gonna trim my nails all the way down. I'm just using this pink tip cutter, and again, we're just gonna trim the nails all the way down. The reason why we wanna do this is because we don't wanna just waste acetone on soaking this off, like the tip off, when we can just cut it off. So just cut all the way down as far as you can. Okay, so after I'm done cutting down the nails, I'm gonna go in with the coarse drill bit and I'm gonna be just following the acrylic all the way down. I'm just following the acrylic as slow as I can. That way it saves us time whenever it's actually time to soak the nails, and that way the nails will soak a lot faster. Alrighty, so I followed this hand as slow as I can. So as you can see, they're pretty thin now. So now I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing to this one. And here's the difference. I don't know if you guys can tell. but the difference between after filing and before filing the acrylic down. And again, I'm using my coarse drill bit by Pana, and it is a safety one. It's better to use a safety one when you're removing acrylic or gel polish, just because you don't want to file down on their natural nail or on their skin, because you will cut them. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish thinning down this hand, and I'll be back. Alrighty, so to soak off my nails, I'm going to be using the little soaking dish and of course pure acetone like I always do. And then for the other hand, I'm going to be using the steamer remover. And this one is by Mia's Secret. I got it a while back, but I haven't took off my nails yet. But right here it says the artificial nail system steamer remover is an easy and fast alternative to remove artificial nails. It warms up the acetone or artificial nail remover to an ideal temperature to break down in 10 minutes or less artificial nail systems. So we're gonna see if it actually works. I'm gonna be kind of comparing, you know, using this between using the soaking bowl and see, you know, which one actually works faster, or if this one actually even soaks it in 10 minutes. So I filed them down to like the same you know, width, I guess. Oh, I missed my thumb, so I'll go back and do that one. But I filed them down pretty much to about the same thickness. And then the Mia's Secret steamer, it came with, or it actually didn't come with it. See, you have to buy the files and brush and all of that separate. But they sent me the pure acetone as well as the artificial nail remover. So as you guys know, I always use pure acetone, but I'm gonna be using the artificial nail remover just because, I mean, that's what it says it's supposed to do, to remove artificial nails. So I'm gonna be using this one for the steamer, and I'm gonna be using my regular pure acetone, which is what I always use for the other hand. So I'm gonna go ahead and open it after I finish removing the, or actually thinning down this nail that I missed. Alrighty, so I went ahead and filed that one down. So I'm gonna go ahead and open up the steamer. And it just comes like this. So it comes with like the little plastic bowls. I don't know if these have to be disposed of after each use because it comes with 3. So I'm gonna go ahead and just put one aside so I can use it. Let's see, it comes with the plastic cover and of course the plug-in. Alrighty, so I went ahead and opened it up. So now the instructions on the box just simply tells you to, of course, take the system out of the box, and then it's telling us to pour the acetone in this little plastic container, and it does have a line to where you're supposed to fill it up to, which is 60 milliliters. And we're just gonna insert this into here, I guess like that, and then we're gonna put this back over, let's see. Yeah, and then we're gonna put this back on here and turn it to the left to lock it. And then of course just insert our fingers in there. And then we're just gonna plug this up. We're going to press the red button right here. We're gonna switch it into the on position, and then it's gonna beep, and that's when we know to put our fingers in. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. So again, I'm gonna be using the artificial nail remover on this one, and then I'm gonna be using just my pure acetone for the other one, and we're gonna keep them in there for the same amount of time. And then after that, we're gonna see, of course, which one, you know, took the longest to remove. So I'm gonna go ahead and pour this in there. And again, this does have a line to where you're supposed to fill it up to. Like right there. I'm gonna go ahead and put this back in here very carefully. Okay, so just like that. I'm gonna go ahead and put this back on here. Okay, so it's locked. And then after that, I'm gonna go ahead and just plug it in. So again, the charger just looks like this, or the plug-in looks like this. So I'm gonna go ahead and take all of that off. All right, so I went ahead and plugged it in and it beeped once. So I'm guessing that just means that it's on. And it's saying that once it beeps, that's when we put our fingers in. So I'm gonna go ahead and fill this one up as well. And again, for this one, I'm just using the acetone that I always use. And then I'm gonna wait until this one beeps so I can put my fingers in both of them at the same time. And then I'm gonna set a timer for 10 minutes because that's how long the steamer says that, you know, it should take to remove the acrylics, which I doubt is gonna be 10 minutes, hopefully. But the only downside about this is that I wish that it came with either like 2 instead of just 1, because I feel like once you do one hand and then once you do the other one, it would equal out to the same amount of time that it would take to just use these, I guess. But we're gonna go try them out and see how it goes. So again, I'm just letting it warm up and then I'll put my fingers in and I'll keep you guys updated. Alrighty, so this just beeped. So I'm gonna go ahead and put both of my hands in there and I can definitely feel how warm it is. Let's see. I don't know if I'm supposed to put my hands all the way in there because it's hot. Alrighty, so I put both of my hands in, so I'm gonna go ahead and set a timer for 10 minutes and then I'll be back to show you what happened after the 10 minutes. Alrighty, so my timer just went off and it's been 10 minutes. So it's definitely not like completely off, but it is starting to soak off. Same thing for the other one, but definitely so far, the one in the pink bowl is soaking off more, or I guess faster than the one in the steamer, it seems like. Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and put them back in for another like 10 minutes and then we'll be back. Alrighty y'all, so it's been another 10 minutes and all of the acrylic is completely soaked off now. The only thing that I didn't like between the Mia Secret steamer, which again I use the artificial nail remover, is that the remover actually stained my fingernails and the skin around it, like my cuticle area. So that's the only thing I didn't like, but I could tell how with the steamer it soaked off just a bit faster. Not that big of a difference, but it did remove them like maybe a few minutes before the regular, you know, soaking bowls. So I'm gonna go ahead and put both of those over to the side and then I'm gonna continue with my full set. So again, so far we removed the acrylic and then after that we're gonna go ahead and just trim down my nails. I'm just gonna go in with a straight edge nail clipper and I'm just gonna be trimming down my nails as low as I can. You guys know that I hate long nails underneath acrylics because for me they just look so dirty with dust and polish and some stuff on them. So I like to just keep my nails really short. Alrighty, so after we trim the nails down, I'm gonna go in with the cuticle pusher and I'm just gonna be pushing back my cuticles. And remember, this is just going to expose the new growth. So after I finish pushing back my cuticles, I'm gonna go back in with my e-file. But of course, this time we're gonna go in with a 180 sanding band to remove the shine from the natural nail. So I'm gonna go ahead and slow it down at like 5,000 RPMs. And we're gonna start around the cuticle area, going from the right side over to the left side. And remember, we're literally just removing the shine. We're not trying to thin down the nail or anything, literally just removing the shine. And then also I use this to go ahead and even out my nails after I trimmed them down. Alrighty, so we did the first hand, so we're gonna do the same thing on the other hand. So again, we go around the cuticle area, making sure that we get on the sides really good. And again, we're literally just removing the shine. We're not filing to thin down the nail. We're just getting rid of the shine. After I finish removing the shine, I'm gonna go ahead and dust the nails off. And then after that, we're gonna go ahead and apply the nail tips. And y'all, I really hate how it stained my fingers. Like, it looks so ugly. But again, we're gonna go ahead and apply the nail tips, and I'm gonna be using my natural nail tips. These nail tips come in a number 0 to number 9. Remember, number 0 is always gonna be your biggest nail tip, and number 9 being your smallest nail tip. So usually my pinkies are always like a number 8. Remember that when you're applying nail tips, if one tip is too small and then the other one's too big, always go with the one that's a little bit bigger and just file it down on the sides, and that way it's gonna fit perfectly. If you apply the one that's too small, the nail tip is gonna wanna come back up, and then eventually it's going to lift or break. So then for my glue, I'm using my KDS glue. Of course, we just apply it on the very tip of the nail. Place it on the nail and just hold it for a few seconds. And that's it. As you can see, the KDS glue dries really fast, so you don't have to sit there and wait a really long time for it to stick to your nail. So again, make sure that you apply the tips that fit perfectly from sidewall to sidewall. Apply the glue and just place it on your nail and hold it for a few seconds. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing for the rest of the nails, and I'll be right back. Alrighty, so we applied all the nail tips on this hand, so we're gonna go ahead and do the same thing on the other hand. Alrighty, so we finished applying all of the nail tips. So now we're gonna go ahead and put these up, and these were the same ones that I had on my website. They are completely sold out, but the website will be up pretty soon. So I'll keep you guys updated on that as well. Okay, so after we finish applying the nail tips, we're gonna go ahead and cut them down to the desired length. So I don't want them too long, but I also don't want them super short like I just had them. So I'm gonna cut, no, that's still too long. Like right there maybe. Alrighty, so I cut them down, so I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing on the other hand. And then of course, measuring both hands against each other to make sure that they're both the same size. Alrighty, so after we finish trimming down the nails, we're gonna go ahead and just trim the sides of the nails, because this time, surprisingly, I am gonna be doing a stiletto shape just to change it up a little bit. So as always, to help save time whenever we're filing, we're gonna go ahead and just trim the sides. And again, this is just gonna help us save time whenever we actually start filing, sorry. Alrighty, so I finished trimming down the sides of the nails. So now I'm gonna go in with the 100 nail file, and we're gonna be filing the nails, or shaping the nails. So I'm gonna be filing the sides at a 45-degree angle, and I'm gonna be alternating from side to side. Again, I am gonna be doing a stiletto shape. So I wanna make sure that I alternate between the two sides, because I don't want one side leaning more towards the other. And then once we get to the very tip and we have them I guess the width that we want, that we can go ahead and round the tip off. I don't want them super pointed, but I do want them pretty, you know, narrow. Just like that. And then of course we're gonna go ahead and just blend the nail tip right in the middle. Yeah, it's been so long since I had this shape. So hopefully I'm able to keep it, because I will change my nails in a quickness if I don't like them. Alrighty, so I finished shaping up this hand. So now I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing on this one. So again, 45-degree angle on the side, making sure that you alternate between side to side. That way the nail is not crooked. Alrighty, so now after I shaped my nails and they're ready to go, I'm gonna go ahead and apply the primer. As always, I'm using my OPI Bondex, and I just apply it on the natural nail. Alrighty, so after we apply the primer, we can go ahead and apply the acrylic. As always, I'm using my alpha brush in a number 10. As you can see, it's nice and flat. And remember that after you use your acrylic brushes, no matter what brand they are, you do want to make sure that you clean your brush off really good. And then also make sure that you flatten it out. That way you're basically training it to stay flat. So again, after each use, make sure that you clean it, whether it's with brush cleaner, or I just like to use acetone. I sit it in the dapping dish for 10 minutes, and then I make sure that it's nice and flat, and I sit it over to the side to let it air dry. And then when it's time to use it, it's nice and clean. So I'm gonna go ahead and dip it into my monomer and wipe it off. and then we can start the acrylic application. So as always, we start with the first bead right in the middle. So I'm gonna go ahead and dip my brush into the liquid, wipe it off halfway, dip it into the powder, and then we're going to place the bead right in the middle where the natural nail and the tip meet. Pat it down, and when I'm patting down, I'm basically spreading it out throughout the nail, and then we're just brushing down towards the tip. Alrighty, so the second bead I'm gonna place right below the first one. Same thing, patting it down and brushing it down towards the tip. And remember that when you're doing stiletto nails, you do want to make sure that you are applying enough acrylic at the tip, because these will break off really easily if the tip is too thin. Making sure that the acrylic is nice and smooth. After that, we're gonna apply the third bead closer to the cuticle area. Patting it down and then brushing it down towards the tip. And of course, if you get any product on the skin, just wipe it off with the very tip of your brush. The fourth bead we're gonna place right behind that first one. Same thing, spreading it out. And then brushing it down. And that bead is what's gonna build our apex. Remember, your apex is right here, right in the middle of the nail. And that's gonna help with making sure that our nails do not break off so easily, because if you hit your nail on something, that's where your nail gets its strength from. Alrighty, so that thumb is done. As you can see, we have a nice thickness. It's all nice and smooth. So we're gonna go ahead and move on to the next nail. So again, dip our brush into the liquid, wipe it off halfway, dip it into the powder. Place the bead right in the middle where the natural nail and the tip meet, patting it down, and then brushing it down towards the tip. Alrighty, so the next bead we're gonna place right below that one. So for the most part, when I'm doing my nails or just any nails period, I like to just stick to this method. That way I'm not just applying acrylic just everywhere. And this method is good for beginners because it kind of gives you a guide on where to apply acrylic, you know, how many beads to apply. But then also, of course, you know, it's important that when you're working, you look at the nail from the sides, because maybe after you apply that second bead on the tip, your tip might still be thin. So you want to, of course, add some more. But anyways, the third bead closer to the cuticle area, patting it down, and then brushing it down towards the tip. Alrighty, so now we're gonna go in with the fourth bead. Alrighty, that's what that second nail looks like. So nice and smooth. So now we're gonna go ahead and do the same thing on the rest of the nails. So again, the phrase bead goes right in the middle where the natural nail and the tip meets. The second one right below that one, the third one closer to the cuticle area, and then the fourth one right at the same spot as well. Alrighty, so we're done applying the acrylic on this hand, so we're gonna go ahead and do the same thing on the other. So again, I did the 4-ball method. The first one right in the middle where the natural nail and the tip meets. The second one right below that one, closer to the tip. Third one closer to the cuticle area, and then the fourth one creates our stress area, which is right in this area. As you can see, that area right there is the thickest on all of our nails, and that's your stress area. Some other people call it your apex. Well, the actual term is apex, but some people call it a stress area, so whatever you want to call it. But that area right there has to be the thickest part of the nail, and the way to check is literally if you put something flat over the top. As you can see, that's what touches our brush, is our stress area. So we're gonna go ahead and do the same thing on the other hand. And one thing that I can tell you about doing your less dominant hand is that there's not a certain trick that you can do, you know, to be able to get better at doing your less dominant hand. The only thing is to practice and doing it over and over and over again. And then afterwards, you know, after so much practice, you're gonna find different little techniques that work for you when you're doing your other hand. So again, you know, that's the only way that I was able to not even perfect, because sometimes I still cut myself, as you can see there. So it's just a learning process. But anyways, we're gonna do the same technique, the 4-bar method. So same thing, dip our brush into the liquid, wipe it off halfway, dip it into the powder, place the first bead right in the middle where the natural nail and the tip meets, gently patting it down and then brushing it down towards the tip. And as always, make sure that if any product gets on the skin, make sure you go ahead and wipe it off immediately, because if not, it will dry up and it's going to be really, really hard to get it off the skin. Alrighty, so I finished applying the acrylic on all of my nails. Here's what they look like from the sides. And y'all see how it's stained like the whole bottom of my fingers? So anyways, after this, we're gonna move on to the next step. I'm gonna go ahead and put this up. So as always, I'm using my Mia Secret acrylic system in the color pink. And again, I'm gonna put that up. And then after that, we can go ahead and go in with the same 100-100 nail file to reshape the nails. And it's the same thing that we did at the beginning. We just file both sides at a 45-degree angle, making sure that we alternate from side to side, and then just round off the top or the tip. Alrighty, so I reshaped this hand, so I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing on the other. As always, whenever I'm doing my right hand with my left hand, instead of moving my file back and forth because it's hard, I like to just hold my file with my left hand and then just move my right hand up and down on the file, just like this. And then we do the same thing, just alternate between side to side. And then once we get to the width that we want at our tip, we just round it off at the top. Alrighty, so after I finish reshaping my nails, I'm gonna go ahead and switch my drill bit out and use my fine one. And as always, I'm using the ceramic fine drill bit by McCart, and I'll be sure to leave the link in the description. And then also, I don't know if I mentioned, but the drill that I'm using is the Melody Susie Scarlet drill, and I'll leave that link below as well. I'm gonna go ahead and start my drill up at 10,000 RPMs. And as always, we start around the cuticle area from the right side over to the left side, getting as close as you can to the back. Making sure that, of course, we seal where that acrylic is. We want to be able to see where the acrylic is, where the cuticle is, and where the natural nail is. That way we know that the acrylic is not touching the skin. And when I say this, I don't mean there has to be like a super huge gap. I'll show you in a second what I mean. Okay, so as you can see, there's like a tiny gap right there where you're able to see my natural nail. So that's what I mean when I say you should be able to see the cuticle area, the natural nail, and the acrylic. As you can see here on the rest, you're not able to see the natural nail, which means that most likely if we left them like this, we could get lifting, but this one is completely sealed. So remember that if any water or moisture gets trapped underneath the nail, it will cause the nail to lift, and it will also cause you to get bacteria under your nail, and it will cause you to have a green spot on your nail. So we have to seal this area really good to prevent that. Alrighty, so I finished filing this hand, so we're gonna go ahead and do the same thing to the other hand. So same thing, we file around the cuticle area. This, just with this hand, of course, we have to be a little bit more careful not to cut ourselves. But as always, go around the cuticle area from the right side over to the left side, making sure that we seal that cuticle area really good. That way we get no lifting. And then also just following the rest of the nail to make sure. Alrighty, so I finished filing all of my nails. So after that, we're gonna go in with the buffer, and we're just gonna buff them really good. Remember, this is just to get rid of any of the scratches left on the nails from the e-file or the hand file. And if you skip this step, you will be able to see those scratches through your polish. So make sure that you do not skip this step and you buff them really good. And then I also like to check each finger when I'm done buffing to make sure that it's nice and smooth. If not, I go back in and buff a little bit more. Alrighty, so I finished buffing all of my nails. So after this, I'm gonna go ahead and wash my hands and I'll be right back. Alrighty, so for the polish, I'm gonna be doing bling on the pinky and the ring finger. And then I'm gonna be using these 5 colors by D&D. We have Purple Flower, Fuchsia Touch, Dutch Orange, Summer Sun, and Lemon Juice. And we are going to be doing an ombre, so of course we're going to be using a makeup wet sponge. As you guys know, these are the ones that I get from Dollar General, and they come in a package like this. This is what they look like. So they're just the Dollar General brand, and it comes with 28 wedges for I believe like $2, $1 or $2. Okay, so for my pinky and my ring finger, I'm gonna be doing the bling. So I'm gonna go in with the Color Club color in the color Harp on It, and I got this one from Amazon. I ran out of my other one, so I went ahead and bought this one. So I'm gonna go ahead and just apply a layer or a coat on my pinky and my ring finger. Or actually, I'm only gonna do my pinky, and then I'm gonna do the ombre on the rest. So for the ombre, as always, I like to use a base of this light pink by Essie in the color Ballet Slippers. And I only do one thin coat of this one. And this one, I just like to use it because it helps the color stick to the nail a lot better. But like I always say, you can use a white, but white usually comes really thick, or it's always something wrong with one of the white polishes. So I like to just go ahead and use this one. Alrighty, so again, I did Harp on It by Color Club, which is the pinky, and then I did Ballet Slippers on the other 4 fingers. We only do one coat when we're doing ombre, and then we let it dry really good before we actually do the ombre on those. So while that dries, I'm gonna go ahead and apply my bling. Okay, and then also I just got this new bling adhesive, and it's the Soleil one. I've been hearing a lot of good stuff about this one, so I wanted to go ahead and give it a try. I've only used it like on 2 clients so far, so I don't, I can't really tell you if it's good or not, so that's why I want to go ahead and try it on myself. One thing that I can say is that I kind of hate when bottles do this. I know when I first opened it, like the little plastic part and this part were like not together, so I had to like close it back up and reopen it to reattach that. And then also it's really hard to open once you kind of get glue on the outside, and sometimes like you can't even help it, but you just kind of get glue on there and it kind of closes it shut. But I want to see how good it is, because again, I've heard really good things about it, so I've been wanting to try it. So I applied it on the pinky, and I'm gonna go ahead and place the bling on there. So as always, I'm using my SS6 and my SS12, and we're just gonna fill up the entire pinky with these. Alrighty, so we applied the bling on the pinky. So now I'm gonna go ahead and spray this with the Mia Secret Gel Resin Activator. And I did buy that from them as well because it came in like a bundle deal. And I can't remember how much I paid. I think it was like $21 after taxes and shipping. So that's what it looks like. And then now that the other ones are dry, I'm gonna go ahead and do the ombre. So again, I'm gonna be using these 5 colors in that same pattern. And I'm gonna apply them on my makeup wet sponge. Purple one first. Just apply it on the sponge. We're gonna go in with the pink one, which is Fuchsia Touch. The purple one was Purple Flower. The next one is Dutch Orange. Then we have Summer Sun and Lemon Juice. Boy, get your butt down. Alrighty, so now that we have the colors on the sponge, we're gonna go ahead and dab them on the nail. Remember that you wanna make sure that you turn your nail over to the sides. That way you get a full coverage over the entire nail. As you can see, the color is starting to get dull, so I'm gonna go ahead and add more color. Y'all, while I'm sitting here doing my nails, like Sugar literally just made himself comfortable on my chair. Hold on. Y'all, look at him. He just like jumped up on the chair and he's just like having the time of his life. Sugar, what are you doing, baby? Why are you on mommy chair? Huh? Oh, okay. But anyways, we have the colors on the sponge. So now I'm gonna go ahead and dab them on my nail. Alrighty, so just like that. Make sure that you get really close to the cuticle area. That way you get polish all around there. And then of course you can come back in and clean it up with your brush. I'm going back in and doing a second coat on the other fingers. Okay, so we got a good coverage on all of the nails. So now I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna clean around the cuticle area. Alrighty, so I think I'm just gonna leave them like this. So since it is regular nail polish and we're gonna be doing a gel top coat over it, we want to make sure that we let it dry completely before we do the gel top coat. If not, we're gonna mess it up. So again, I'm just gonna let this air dry and then I'll be back. Rub it on. Alrighty y'all, so it is completely dry. As you can see, I can rub on them and nothing is happening. So now I can go ahead and apply the top coat. I am going to be using my Madam Glam gel top coat just because I ran out of the IBD one and I haven't ordered a new one. So I'm just going to be applying this one, and it is a non-cleanse top coat as well, and I do have a promo code for them, so I'll be sure to leave that down in the description. Alrighty, so after I apply the top coat, I'm gonna go ahead and put this hand under the light for 60 seconds. Alrighty, so that's what the first hand looks like. So now we're gonna go ahead and do the exact same thing on the other hand. So again, we're doing Harp on It by Color Club, and then we're gonna be doing the other colors on the Makeup Wet Sponge. Alrighty, so I did the pinky, so now I'm gonna go ahead and do the ombre, and we're doing it exactly the same. Alrighty, so now I'm gonna go ahead and clean up with the brush and the acetone. Alrighty, so we just finished doing the ombre on this one, and now I'm gonna go ahead and let this one dry completely. Remember, it's really important that when you're doing regular nail polish with a gel top coat that you let the regular nail polish dry 100% before you apply the gel top coat, because if not, your polish will crack or wrinkle. Alrighty y'all, so they are completely dry. So now I'm gonna go ahead and apply the Madam Glam gel top coat, and it is a non-cleanse top coat. Alrighty, so now I'm gonna go ahead and put this one under the light for 60 seconds. And this is what the Madam Glam gel top coat looks like. And again, I'll be sure to leave that link in the description. Alrighty y'all, so here is the final look. So again, we did the blink on the pinkies, and then we did the ombre on the other nails. So as always, I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at GetNailDirty2, and I'll see you guys next time.